behavioural therapist. And I can see from my notes that you've been referred to me from your doctor, from your psychiatrist, for cognitive behavioural therapy sessions. Is that correct? Yeah? Your psychiatrist is called Periwinkle too. How bizarre. That is strange. It's not really a common name. Yeah, that's funny. Okay, so I believe your psychiatrist asked you to do a little bit of preparation, just a little bit of research before you come in. Were you able to do any? A bit? Okay, good. So cognitive behavioural therapy, although we'll probably just call it CBT, less of a mouthful. It is a talking therapy, okay? It's a partnership between the therapist and you. You're going to be an active participant, so this isn't going to be something that I'm doing to you. It's something that we're doing together, and you will be taking quite an active leading role in the process. Okay, it doesn't work if you're passive. It doesn't work if you're not really committed. It doesn't work if you're just going with the flow. You need to be quite committed and dedicated and really giving it your all. Okay. Great. So it is very successful. CBT has a high success rate, mostly for mild to moderate problems. Okay, we can tackle depression, we can tackle anxiety, stress, anger, and low self-esteem. So those are the main areas that we can focus on. Okay, if you've got a more complex emotional problem, we may not be able to help you. We can always give it a go, but you may need something a bit more in depth. You may need more specialist input, okay? Great. So CBT is usually between 6 to 10 sessions. We can go up to 20 if necessary, but we won't go any further than 20. If you find that after 20 sessions you've not gotten any better and you find this hasn't helped you, then that's okay. Don't worry, it just means that CBT is not the right fit for you. There are many other therapies, many other approaches, more holistic approaches, more specialist approaches, so don't worry, we can always just refer you on to something else. But because of the high success rate, CBT is always a good starting point, okay? Good. So in this first session, all we're going to do is I'm going to give you a bit of information about the approach we're going to take. I'm going to talk you through some of the basic ideas of cognitive behavioural therapy, and we'll work through some examples together, okay? And then we'll get an idea of how we're going to move forward, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to begin every session just by rating your mood on a scale from -5. Okay, so you've got -5, -4, -3, -2, -1. Okay, so those are the not feeling good. Okay, 0, which is kind of neutral, you're not feeling good but you're not feeling bad, and then +1, +2, +3, 4 and +5, okay? So on this sliding scale between -5 and +5 with 0 in the middle, if you could just have a little think and tell me where would you rate your mood at this very present moment, okay? So you don't have to think back over the past week or anything like that, just in this very present moment right now. And -3, okay? Okay, so if we just make a note of that, okay, I'll just pop that down in our progress report, and by the end of the sessions, where would you like your mood to be on this scale? +5, okay. So what we need to do is set realistic expectations. So to be honest, I don't know if anyone really feels +5 all of the time. Yeah, people have their good moments and their bad moments, but a +5 would be very, very positive and not always easy to maintain. Okay, so it's just something a little bit more realistic. A +3, yeah, okay. So we want to move from -3 to +3, okay? So that's something that is a little bit more realistic, and we will figure out some very specific, practical ways that we can achieve that for you, okay? So the basic premise of CBT is that your thoughts affect your emotional state, okay? So you have this event in the environment. It could be anything. For example, it could be a friend not texting you back. So in CBT, we don't blame the event for our emotional response, okay? The idea is that your thoughts, your interpretation, basically this is the cognitive aspect. So what's going on in your brain, okay? That is what's going to lead to the emotional response, okay? Which is how you're feeling, okay? I've got a little diagram I can show you. Okay, right, do you see? So here you've got your emotions, okay, which is influenced by your thoughts, okay? You've got your bodily sensations, so this could be things like poor sleep, poor appetite, aches and pains, headaches, so the more physical sensations are going on in your body. And here we've got behaviours. So, can you see it clearly? Yeah, okay. So basically, what CBT says is that all of these influence each other, okay? So that's why we've got two-way arrows connecting each one, okay? So your thoughts are going to influence your emotions, which is going to influence your physical sensations, which is going to influence your behaviours, which in turn is going to feed back in and influence everything else, okay? So we're going to use this chart, this diagram, quite a lot in this session, okay? We'll run through some examples and we'll think of different examples that we could pop in to each section, okay? I will also show you something else before we carry on. Everything that we're going to be working through in these sessions, it all comes out of this book, okay? The CBT outside of the sessions you can carry on working through the tasks and the homework and all the bits and pieces in your own time if you want to. You don't have to, because we will go through this over the course of many sessions, okay? Okay, so this is a comprehensive guide to using cognitive behavioural therapy to overcome depression, anxiety, and anger. Okay? Alright, so what we need to do is identify your emotional problem. I'm sure you know what exactly it is. Now, like I said, the main areas that we work with are depression, anxiety, anger, stress, and low self-esteem. That's where we're most effective, okay? So between those areas, and you might fall into more than one category, but just roughly, where would you say that your emotional problems lie? Okay, it's okay to choose more than one. Depression, is that the main one? Okay. Anxiety, sometimes, and low self-esteem, okay? Okay, so between those three, we need to work on one at a time, so we'll choose the one that is troubling you the most. Depression? Yeah? Okay, so we're gonna just really focus in on the depression, okay? So CBT is based on two major ideas. We've kind of touched on the first one already. It's the event in the environment does not cause the emotional response. The emotional response is caused by your interpretation of the event, your thought process, and sometimes your thought process is not always accurate, okay? So it could be negatively skewed, okay? Does that make sense? You with me so far? Okay, so for example, something that gets me every time, if I come home from work and someone is parked in my space. Okay, so that's the event, that someone is parked in my space. So that sounds like that is the thing that makes me angry, that causes the emotional response, but it's actually how I interpret that. There's many ways I could interpret that. I could say, oh, okay, they'll move in a minute. I'll just give them some time and hopefully they'll be gone soon. Or I could get very, very cross and say, they know that's my space. They've parked there on purpose. They're trying to annoy me. So do you see that there's different ways you can interpret the event? And depending on how you interpret it, that's going to lead on to a different emotional response. Okay, so if I think they've done it on purpose, they're going to be here for hours, they know that's my space, that's going to make me a bit cross, a bit angry, it's going to get me all worked up. Whereas if I think, okay, maybe they didn't know, maybe they didn't realise, maybe they'll be gone in a minute, maybe they're just dropping something off. These are all different thoughts that can run through your mind, and I'm likely to stay calmer. I'm likely to just go indoors and not have such a strong response, okay? Yeah. So let's think of another example, okay? So let's say that you've texted your friend, you've sent your friend a text message asking if they'd like to meet up, have a coffee, and they don't respond to you, okay? So 24 hours have passed and they don't respond to you. So if you could just try to help me think of 2 different ways that you could interpret that event. So let's start with maybe the slightly more negative interpretation. Yeah. So they don't like me. They don't want to have coffee with me. Yeah, they don't even want to be friends with me. Yeah. Okay, so do you see how once you start going down the route of negative thinking, it kind of spirals a little bit out of control? So it might be, oh, they just don't have time for me. Maybe they don't want to be my friend at all. Maybe they never liked me. It just kind of escalates, and the more it escalates, the more your emotional response is going to escalate. Okay, so let's think of maybe a more neutral or positive interpretation of that event. Maybe they got busy, yeah. They forgot to reply. What else? Yeah, maybe they typed up that reply and they forgot to press send. Good. Maybe they need to check their diary first. Maybe they need to rearrange their work schedule and they'll get back to you afterwards. Yeah, there's all sorts of reasons. The point is, we don't actually know the exact reason, but it's important to kind of bear in mind that these negative ones could be true, but also these positive ones could be true. Do you see what I mean? The more you kind of go down the route of having the negative thoughts, you start to believe them, okay? You don't necessarily know if the positive interpretations are true either. So it's you kind of just want to stay a little bit neutral. Okay, I don't know why they haven't replied yet, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to just bear with it for a little bit longer, not make any faulty assumptions. You see? Okay, so going back to the really negative thoughts here, the negative interpretation, how might that lead on to a negative emotional response? You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel unwanted. You're going to feel like you're not a worthwhile friend. Yeah, exactly. All sorts of things like that. Whereas if your mind is going to a more positive place, how might that create an emotional response, or how might you feel if those were the thoughts that you were having? Yeah, you might just be a bit more neutral, patient, maybe have a little bit of empathy for that other person. Think, okay, they've probably just got a lot on their plate right now. Yeah, so basically not taking it personally. Yeah? Great. Okay. The second idea that CBT is based on is that when you start to get into these patterns of negative thinking to a strong negative emotional response, the the idea is that this is going to start to create a vicious cycle. Okay, so you've got your negative thought, your negative emotional response. You might then start to have negative physical sensations, and then that's going to affect your behaviors, okay, your actions, your actual response to the situation. Yeah, and basically I'll get the diagram again. This is how the negative, vicious, self-fulfilling cycles can kind of come about. So if we go with an example, say the example is you went for a job interview and you did not get the job. Okay, so let's think of a negative thought. I'm not good enough. Yeah, good one. What else? They didn't like me. Yeah. No one wants to hire me. Okay, good. Yeah, and this is all going to create feelings such as worthlessness. Yeah. Feeling inadequate. Yeah, good one. Okay, you're gonna feel depressed, aren't you? You're gonna feel more depressed, unmotivated. What kind of bodily sensations might come about? You could get more kind of anxiety symptoms like racing heart. You could get more depression-related symptoms such as feeling a bit tired and sluggish. You might stop eating. In terms of the behaviors, what might you do then if you've applied for a job, you didn't get it, you've had a really negative thought, kind of a catastrophic thought, no one's ever going to hire me, then your behavior might be to stop applying for jobs. Yeah, to just give up. Yeah, and in that case you stopped applying, you've given up, and then we're going to lead back around. This is going to kind of feed back in to I'm not good enough, no one wants to hire me, I'll never get a job, because you've kind of not given any evidence to the contrary, okay? You've kind of given evidence by not applying for any more jobs. You kind of are reinforcing this thought, yeah? Which is then gonna reinforce the negative emotional state, which is gonna continue to reinforce the kind of behaviors, not applying for jobs, and then basically the bodily sensations may or may not be relevant to this one. You might stay in bed all day, you might just get really tired and low. It's all just gonna kind of keep cycling back around. Okay, so when you're trapped in a negative vicious cycle like this one, somehow at some point we need to break out of it. Okay, so there are 2 points here where we have control and we can break out. Can you kind of identify which 2 points you have control of? Yeah, thoughts. You have control of your thoughts. Exactly. And behaviors. That's it. Okay, so you do have control of your behaviors. The emotional state, you can't always control how you feel. You can't help how you feel. Okay, but like we've discussed, it's influenced quite heavily by your thinking, okay, your interpretations, and well, you can't necessarily control your bodily sensations either, okay? So with CBT, we focus on these two, and we hope that by focusing on them, we can break out of this cycle and we can have positive responses in all 4 areas. Yeah? Yes, perfect. Okay, so this leads on to 2 main techniques. So related to this one, thoughts. The technique that we're going to use is called cognitive restructuring. Okay, we have basically touched on it by running through some examples. Basically, it's how we take the event and we think of an alternative way to interpret it, not necessarily the negative way, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a super hopeful, positive way. It can be neutral, okay, it might be slightly positive, okay, so we can change the thoughts that you're having, okay, that is something that you have control of. Now I know that a lot of thoughts are automatic, they jump in your head and you don't feel like you have control of them, but what we're going to learn to do is to identify them. Okay, I've just had a negative thought, I spot it, I catch it, and then I change it. Okay, so I'm not saying that negative thoughts are never going to jump in your head, but we're going to work towards spotting them straight away, okay, identifying them for what they are, which is, it's a negative thought, it's a faulty assumption, okay, and it's not necessarily true, it's probably not true, okay, so whereas you might currently be thinking that all negative thoughts are true, you're going to believe them, and that's going to lead on, and so on. We're going to catch it straight away, see it for what it is, and then we're going to try to think of different ways that you can interpret the event. Okay? This does take a lot of work, okay, a lot of dedication, and it's something that you need to keep at, okay, it's ongoing. Eventually, the more that we do this, you're gonna have a few less, but you're gonna have less negative thoughts, and you might find the more positive thoughts jump in your head, okay? Okay? You with me so far? Great, great. You're doing really, really well. Okay, so the other area where you have control is your behaviors, your actions, so what you do. This is concerned with what you think, what you feel, and what you do. Now, if you're feeling demotivated, then you might feel like not doing much at all. So this technique, behavioural activation, is called. It is a tough one. Okay, it's a big hurdle, but we're going to take it in baby steps. Okay, so changing your behaviours. Hence why this is called cognitive behavioural therapy. We really target the cognitive aspects and really target the behavioural aspects. So it's not easy, okay? But these 2 bits combined, we tackle them, okay? We give it our best shot, and then you really can break out of the negative cycle, okay? Yeah, like I said, this is got a high success rate. Okay, it's a really, really well respected, well researched scientific therapy. It works for most people with mild to moderate problems. If your problems are more severe, you probably need additional help, or maybe even a more specialist method, okay? But these are a good place to start, okay? So when it comes to changing your behaviors, we need to be very, very specific. You can't just say things like, I'll do it differently, or I'll do it better tomorrow. Okay, that's vague. So in CBT we try to be as specific as possible, as practical as possible, and as realistic as possible. So you might say, for example, I'm going to apply for 100 jobs tomorrow. That's not going to be a realistic behavior, realistic expectation. Instead, we'll just take it really, we'll take it in baby steps. Basically, we will take it in baby steps. So you might say, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on a job site and I'll just register. Okay, I'll register in all my details. That's all I'm going to do for tomorrow. So for that particular example of, getting denied for a job and stop applying for jobs, that would be kind of a step one, just to register for a job site. So we can think of a couple more examples. So do you have any examples we could perhaps talk through? Okay, yeah, so that's a good point. Sometimes the event itself is something that you've done or something that you've not done. So for example, say you didn't read your child a bedtime story last night and they were a bit upset with you, okay? So you might end up thinking, I'm a bad parent. I can't even read my kid a bedtime story. I'm a bad parent. Then you're going to feel probably depressed, worthless, inadequate. You might feel quite tired, which might be why you didn't read the bedtime story, because you feel tired. And your behaviors could be that you have let yourself, you've kind of gotten in your head too much, and then you don't read the bedtime story tomorrow either because you got trapped. So that's a good example. So we can try to break out of that by having a good thought. Say, I was just too tired last night, but this is not a reflection on me as a parent. Yeah, then you're not going to feel worthless, you're not going to feel inadequate, okay? And then your behavior could be the next night, maybe you do end up reading a bedtime story. Yeah, okay, let's think of one more example, okay? So you went on a date and it didn't go so well and you haven't heard from the person, okay? Yeah, so you think, well, they don't want to see me again. You're going to have a whole host of emotional problems, emotional responses where you feel not good enough, not wanted, not desired. You might start having self-esteem issues related to your personality or your appearance. I'm not attractive. They don't like my personality. I'm not funny. I was nervous, awkward. All of these things could run through your brain, and then you're going to have your emotional response. Your behaviours could be stop going on dates, or your behaviours could be you go on dates, but you're behaving a bit differently next time. Maybe you're a bit less committed, a bit standoffish, so you're not really giving it your all, and then hence you're trapped in a negative cycle where you start to feel like no one wants to date me, right? Another part of CBT, kind of related to that, is to do with bias. So you look out into the situation for evidence that's going to support your interpretations. Yeah, so you're looking for negative evidence. So you're looking at the people that didn't call you back, or the jobs that rejected you, and those are evidence to you. That's proof that you're not good enough, that no one wants you, and you're completely ignoring all the positive evidence. So that's also how you can get stuck in a vicious cycle. Okay? Does that make sense? Good. Okay, so we're nearly at the end of this session, right? And what I'm going to do is give you some homework and just a quick intro into what we're going to be doing next week, okay? So your homework is, I would like you to take this home with you, or you can write one out yourself, okay? So all you have to do, underneath each heading, I want you to put down some examples from your life, okay? Negative thoughts that you are having. So we've run through quite a lot of examples. Just you write down some thoughts that you're having, okay? Yeah, you can think about very specific situations that are going on in your daily life that are kind of leading to these thoughts. What you could do over the course of the week, every time you notice a negative thought, pop it down, okay? We'll start challenging it next week, but just every time you notice a negative thought, pop it down. Every time you notice a negative feeling, pop it down, okay? So, like I said, feeling worthless, feeling hopeless, feeling low. This can include having no enjoyment in your usual hobbies. So, feeling bored, feeling lonely, anything like that, okay? Lots and lots of different ones. Try to be specific. You could just put low, you could just put depressed, anxious, that's fine. But if you can, try to be a bit more specific. So, yeah, feeling hopeless about the future. Yeah, feeling inadequate, low self-esteem, etc. Okay? Write down any bodily sensations that you're having. Try to see how they might be connected. Just when you just start thinking about how it could all be connected. So, headaches, sleepless nights, feeling tired, feeling drowsy, etc. Okay? You might have aches and pains. And then your behaviours, of course. So just write down underneath this heading anything that you might be doing or not doing, and especially try to think of how it might be related to the thoughts. It might be related to the emotional aspects, okay? Yeah, so you've got a whole week, yeah? so you don't have to fill it all out at once. Take it away with you, and just anytime you notice something and you think that's going to fall under that heading, or it's going to fall under that heading, and that could be important, just write it down. And when you come back next week, we will examine that, okay? We'll talk through it. Good. What we're also going to do next week is we're going to set your problem statement. Okay, so your problem statement is kind of a paragraph. Could be 2, 3, 4 sentences, because your problem statement is quite descriptive, and it includes the trigger of your problem, what's triggering your problem, what's bringing it on, the symptoms of your problem, so what is your problem specifically, and then the impact or consequence of your problem. So we'll go through this in much more detail next week. So then from your problem statement, we're going to set your goals. Your goals are SMART goals. So S for specific, M for measurable, A for achievable, R for realistic, and T for time oriented. Okay, so SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time oriented. So that's kind of like I said, you maybe don't want to aim for the stars, just try and keep it a bit more grounded, okay? Yep, so when you come back next week, we will review your homework. We will identify and write up your problem statement, and we'll talk through lots of different examples, okay? Yeah, and then we'll set your SMART goals. The week after that, we will really start to get stuck in with cognitive restructuring and behavioural activation. Yeah? How does this sound? Does it sound like something that you're keen to do? Yeah? Okay, that's good. We'll do this for at least 6 sessions. Yeah? We've got enough material to keep us going for at least 6 sessions. After that, if you're doing much better, then we won't need to continue. If you need a little bit more, we can go up to 8, 10, 12, and if necessary, we could go up to 20. Okay? Yeah, perfect. So I will see you next week. Don't forget, complete the homework, because the homework is a very, very important part of the therapy, really. It's about showing commitment to yourself. So it's about showing how you're dedicated on this journey forward, okay? Lovely. I look forward to seeing you again next week. Goodbye. Bye now.